After yet another terrorist attack at the Hummus Eliyahu restaurant in Samaria, Israel last week, which left 2 Israeli Jews dead, residents have had enough. While the Biden administration doubles down on what they call settler violence, the actual citizens of Israel who happen to live in a region called Judea and Samaria are suffering terrorist attack after terrorist attack. The world has ignored the real issues happening in a region that they call the occupied West Bank. Decades of apathy and one-sided propaganda have caused thousands of Israeli Jews to suffer unimaginable pain. Instead of violent settlers, innocent Israeli Jews are facing barbaric terrorists in their biblical homeland. All of this and a whole lot more on today's episode. I'm Luke, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of anti-Israel propaganda and Jew hatred, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Guys, glad to have you with us back in the land of Israel in the studio on the Mount of Blessing this week. And if you have not subscribed yet, please hit the button, hit those notifications, and let me know down in the comment section below if you're a new viewer or listener. Breaking news announcement before we get into the news of the day, and that is the Israel Guys are hosting our very first, hopefully annual conference, and registration is open right now. You guys have to at least go check it out. You go to theisraelguys.com/summit. We'll have a direct link down in the description below. Our very first Israel Summit, May 20th through 22nd, will be hosted at the Sonesta Hotel in Nashville, Tennessee. We would love to see every single one of you there. We have space for nearly 1,000 people, guys. I truly believe the time has come for Zionists, true Zionists who believe in sovereignty in the entire land of Israel to come together in America with one voice. Forget about all the other events. Okay, there's some other good events out there, but guys, this one is not cutting corners. It's not compromising. It's not saying, yeah, we support Israel, but we don't know about that whole sovereignty, two-state solution thing. We don't know about those settlers. No. The Israel Summit, hosted by the Israel Guys, we're having Yishai Fleischer. Yes, he's confirmed as a keynote speaker. We got Jeremy Gimpel. We got Aria Bramowitz. Obviously, all of the Israel Guys. We're in talks to screen several Israel amazing movies and films, one of which you have probably not even heard about yet. That's in the works. We've also invited Ambassador David Friedman, Caroline Glick, Yair Levy, the IDF Special Forces musician you've probably heard of. We got music. We got unreleased videos. Guys, the time has come to keep God's land, and we mean all of it. And I want to encourage you, go to theisraelguys.com/summit or click the link down below. We have to come together in America with one voice to declare very loudly that the entire land of Israel is God's land, and it's our job as Jewish and Christian Zionists to support Israel's right in just that. theisraelguys.com/summit. So I'm going to get into why the residents of Samaria, particularly a group of women residents in Samaria, Binyamin to be more specific, have had enough. But first, I thought you might like to hear your lie of the day. So I was on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, and I came across a tweet from Abdullah Hamoud, if I'm saying his name right. And he said, quote, "To be clear, the U.S. is dropping humanitarian aid to Gaza, presumably, because the Israeli government will not allow it into Gaza, and our government refuses to hold Benjamin Netanyahu accountable." Sounds all good and actually all bad and apartheid of Israel. My grammar's suffering terribly right now, but it sounds like a terrible thing, right? That Israel would not allow aid into Gaza. Fortunately, one of the main spokesmen for Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's office tweeted back and said, quote, "That's simply a lie. There's an excess capacity at the Kerem Shalom crossing, one of the main crossings into Gaza, to get aid into Gaza, and there's aid piling up on the Gazan side waiting for the UN to pick it up. The question is how to distribute it while circumventing Hamas and its international branch, UNRWA." So that was his tweet. Obviously, we know all that's a lie. Hundreds, if not thousands of trucks have gone into Gaza from Israel with aid Fortunately, you've seen the videos, seen the images, especially on the Israel Guys channel. A lot of that aid has not made it into the hands of the people that need it because Hamas just shoot people that try to actually get the aid. They commandeer the trucks with their terrorists and they take it wherever they want, presumably to commit more terrorism. Israel, however, has continued to send as much aid as they possibly can inside Gaza with the hopes of it reaching the right people. And this little liar on X decided to just lie because he knew so many people would believe him without questioning it. Well, you guys know we've been reporting on it. The bottom line is Israel has allowed so much aid into Gaza, and they've even helped facilitate airdrops. Like the United States just airdropped aid in Gaza. They've helped other countries do that as well. That's actually what's happening. I have a question for you. Where do you buy your olive oil and your honey from? How about tea, chocolate, cosmetics? If you knew that you could get these items from Israel and that your purchase would help families living in Israel's heartland to thrive, would you be interested? What if I told you that you could purchase all of these items and much more easily online and everything will be shipped straight to your doorstep in a matter of days? That's why we have really good friends at Blessed by Israel. The truth is, Blessed by Israel was founded by really good friends of ours after coming on a trip to Israel with our organization years and years ago. When they met the brave pioneers who live here, they were inspired to help these families thrive by bringing their products to the United States. Every purchase you make is a direct investment in the family-owned businesses who are located in Israel's biblical heartland. Every purchase helps an amazing family place their roots even deeper in their ancient homeland. As you consider where to make your investments in 2024, I would urge you, consider buying as many products as possible from Israel. Visit Blessed by Israel, that's B-U-Y Israel, to check out their amazing product line, or click the link down in the description below. Blessed by Israel is bringing the beauty of Israel's heartland straight to your doorstep. Visit blessedbuyisrael.com or click the link in the description below today. I hate to always be talking about terrorism in Israel, but there was another terrorist attack, and you guys have already heard the details on the channel here. At the Hummus Eliyahu restaurant, same place where multiple Jews were killed last year in a terrorist attack. We've been there personally multiple times. We've done videos from there. You guys know this is a little bit of a hotbed, but it's also a place I just drove past today. There was about 100 Israeli youth waving Israeli flags and singing and dancing just in support of Israel's right to be there, right? Well, after this latest horrific terrorist attack, the residents of the Binyamin region wrote a letter. And they said, quote, in the last 2 weeks, residents of the Dolev and Talmonim areas, this is more a little bit west of where the terrorist attack took place, have experienced escalation on the roads as a result of increased terrorism in our region. Just last week, there were 6 rock-throwing attacks on the route between Hadoar Junction and Har Parsa Junction, These attacks were kept quiet and only by a miracle inflicted exclusively property damage. In one incident, a stolen car driven by an Arab struck a Jewish car and knocked it into a ditch on the side of the road. The Arabs then fled to a nearby village and did not get caught. They paid no price for the attempted murder. The letter goes on to say, we, the women of Western Binyamin, along with other forms, represent thousands of residents in Judea, Samaria, and Binyamin, with some of us still alone at home while our husbands are drafted on various fronts. We declare that we cannot bear this situation and be sitting ducks every day on the road. We promise that if the army does not provide security, we'll be forced to do so by ourselves, and we'll take such steps as blocking the entry to Palestinian villages. We will not agree to be sitting ducks and being unable to travel with our children on the roads where terrorists are operating freely and our security is abandoned. Now, my question is to you. If you had terrorist attacks happening every day, if your cars were being stolen, and then your stolen cars were being driven by Arab terrorists and running other Jewish cars off the roads, if rocks were being thrown on your vehicles, rocks that kill, by the way, if you were suffering terrorist attacks at the Eli Junction at the Hummus Eliyahu restaurant, which has left two Jews dead just last week and more last year, what would your response be? Do you think it's justified that the women of Western Binyamin have said, if the army doesn't protect us, we're going to physically go and block the entrance to PA villages? Is that a justified response? What would you do in their shoes? Let me know. I mean, this is an honest, genuine question that I'm asking you here. And now, 2 more Jews dead just last week. And all because the world is focused on this myth of settler violence. which only exists in the media. It only exists in social media, or apparently exists in the U.S. State Department. And nobody's focus is on the thousands of terrorist attacks that have taken place in this region just since October 7th. Quickly, I'll tell you, if you ask the UN official reports will tell you settler violence has doubled in recent months. All the mainstream media, settler violence on the rise, settler violence escalating, right? President Joe Biden issues an executive order calling settler violence a threat to national security, a threat to America's foreign policy, and to deal with it, he declared a national emergency. Well, I hate to bust your bubble, President Biden and the State Department and France, who sanctioned 28 settlers, and Al Jazeera and Reuters and the New York Times and the Guardian and everybody else. But according to official figures made public in November, in the period from the current Hamas's war on October 7th through November 7th, a 1-month period, there were 97 incidents of illegal activities attributed to Jews in Judea and Samaria, down from double that number in 2022. A 1-month period, 500,000 residents committed 97 acts of illegal activity. Not anything special, but illegal activity, meaning 97 people broke the law out of 500,000. Now, pause this video right now, but before you pause it, when you pause the video, I want you to Google how many acts of illegal activity happen in your nearest town that has 500,000 people in it in a 1-month period. Go Google it, look it up, and then come back, comment it down below, and finish watching this video, okay? Because I can guarantee you, it's a whole lot more than that. And no, it's not settler violence. It's just people breaking the law, and very low number of people at that. On the contrast, between October 7th and January 15th, the Hatzalah Judea and Samaria Rescue Group recorded more than 2,600 terrorist attacks against Israelis in Judea and Samaria, including 760 cases of rock throwings, 551 fire bombings, 12 attempted or successful stabbings, 9 vehicular assaults. So while settler violence is not real, what is real and what nobody's even paying any attention to, and Joe Biden has turned a blind eye to, is thousands and thousands of terrorist attacks happening in Judea and Samaria. This has to change. The narrative has to change. We have to get our voices out there. By the way, that's why you have to come to this conference in May 20th through 22nd, the Israel Summit. Okay, last but not least, I figured you guys might need a little bit of Fakestinian news. Fakestinian news of the day is what I'm calling it. And this is from Palestinian Media Watch. The headline is that a hospital in Bethlehem has had to cut 20% of the, or has had to decrease their capacity by 20% because the Palestinian Authority won't pay them the 65 million shekels of debt that they owe them. Yet, in return, the PA is anxious to pay 65 million shekels in salaries to terrorist prisoners. I can explain. So this is directly from Palestinian Media Watch. You can look up the full article in the source link down below. Palestinian hospital in Bethlehem just announced that they're reducing the number of beds in the hospital by 20% and not accepting any patients to its cardiology department who are referred by the PA Ministry of Health because the PA owes them 65 million shekels. That's about $18.2 million for all you Americans out there. This comes on the heels of Palestinian Media Watch reporting that the PA was so anxious to pay the terrorists who had been arrested since October 7th that it decided to bypass its own regulations to make things easier to pay these new terrorists that are now in Israeli prisons or their families if these terrorists are dead, right? Prior to October 7th, okay, there was less convicted terrorists or dead terrorists right before October 7th. The PA was spending between 50 and 55 million shekels a month to pay salaries for imprisoned terrorists. Okay, that was just people in prisons before or their families, right? Terrorists. And with now, there are thousands of new imprisoned terrorists because obviously Israel has captured many, many thousands of Hamas terrorists and Palestinian Authority, meaning Hamas or Fatah terrorists and Palestinian Islamic Jihad terrorists, right? So now, with all the new influx of terrorists in prisons, the PA's official pay-to-slate program has now reached about 65 million shekels per month. That's an increase of 15 million shekels. That's about $4 million per month, just since October 7th, right? So, Palestinian Media Watch, they're just kind of doing some basic math here. They're like, if the PA would decide to cancel its payments or its terror rewards for just 1 month. These poor, pitiful terrorists sitting in Israeli prisons, earning degrees. Just, if they could just forego 1 month of their salary while they're in prison so that this hospital in Bethlehem could actually get their debts repaid and they could start taking patients to their cardiology department again. Just 1 month. That's all we ask. You think all these sick sitting in Israeli prisons and maybe their families too could go without their salary for just 1 month so that actual people who need help in a hospital in Bethlehem could get the help they need for the PA paying their 65 million shekel debt back? I'll give you, how many guesses do you want that the PA will actually pay their debt back to the Bethlehem hospital? Oops, sorry, no chance, 0 chance, not happening ever at all, not under the current Palestinian Authority administration. So that's your Fakistinian news of the day. Makes you kind of, upset that people that actually could use help in a hospital can't get the help they need, not because Israel doesn't care, not because the United States doesn't care, not because the European Union doesn't care, because they all, not because the United Nations doesn't care, because they've given tens of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars to the PA over the years, but just because the Palestinian Authority government themselves, they don't care one single little bit, because the only thing they care about is dead Jews and rewarding the terrorists who are now sitting in prisons and their families. Guys, don't forget to purchase amazing, incredible products from Judea and Samaria at blessedbuyisrael.com or click the link down below. Please subscribe to the channel as we're moving forward in 2024. Let me know what you think about this entire topic in the comment section down below. As always, tune out the fake news and tune into what is actually happening here in the land of Israel. We're here every Monday through Friday with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel.